Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into the microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And this time I'll be playing Portal. Now, I've already played Portal, but it was like back when it was released, so I think it's more than 10 years now, or something like that. I don't remember. But basically, I know the story of the Portal game, and I do remember the ending quite vividly, but any details of the puzzles and any actual solutions are probably going to be rather murky in my memory, so it's not like I have this memorized. But on the other hand, I don't remember the first Portal being that difficult, so I guess I'll see. Now, because I already played this game, I'm going to play with the developer commentary on, because I think it might be really interesting to listen to the developers explain some of their design decisions and all that. I really enjoyed the developer commentary in the Half-Life episodes, because I've also played with the commentary on. I just wanted to play something shorter, and I do have this strange idea, this strange dream of finishing and recording every game that I own for a strange feeling of completion. So that's why I chose Portal, because it's short and I can stuff it in between some of those longer titles. So I'll try, if possible, to refrain from listening to the commentary notes until after I've finished the current puzzle, so that I do not spoil myself in a way, and try to figure it out the quote-unquote legal way. But I'll listen to every commentary note and comment on what I, heard. I think it might be quite fun. So, without further ado, let's start. Commentary mode on, blah blah blah. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay.
Welcome to
Game Name Here.
Hopefully you've already had a chance to enjoy the offbeat perspective and new game mechanic of Portal. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your use key. To stop a commentary node, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press the use key again. Some commentary nodes may take control of the game in order to show something to you. In these cases, simply press your use key again to stop the commentary. Please let me know what you think after you've had a chance to play, as we think we are just at the beginning of taking advantage of this type of gameplay. I can be reached at gaben@valvesoftware.com. Thanks, and have fun.
Now, I don't really know much about Gabe Newell as a person, but whenever I listen to him, he always sounds like a nice person. And I've always wondered about that part where he gives you his email, because it seems to me like a really bad idea, judging just from even discounting any kind of abuse. Just the number of emails.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. We hope your brief detention in the relaxation vault has been a pleasant one. Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper. Before we start, however, keep in mind that although fun and learning are the primary goals of all Enrichment Center activities, serious injuries may occur. For your own safety and the safety of others, please refrain from... Stand back. The portal will open in 3, 2, 1.
Just the number of emails he must have gotten must have been staggering. I think it must have been like hundreds of thousands. This email is probably no longer up, but I wonder how many of those emails did they actually read regarding feedbacks on Portal and the episodes. But it's a nice gesture, if not anything else, to hear him personally welcome you into his game and actually directly ask for your feedback. I always thought it was a nice idea. So let's listen to those first few commentary notes.
One of the things we learned from Narbacular Drop, our student project that became Portal,
was that players often thought portals took them into other spaces, or even other dimensions. To help fight that notion, we start players in a visually unique room with memorable objects, so that when they walk through a portal for the first time, they have a clear point of reference which communicates the idea that they're still in the same basic location. For instance, the radio, which is playing an instrumental version of Still Alive, helps as well by providing some audio continuity.
Why did it stop? I didn't click it, but oh well, it was the ending of the node anyway. Now that's... it's nice how you can see your character, which is also something they talk about, I believe.
It's absolutely critical that players quickly wrap their heads around what a portal is. We noticed early playtesters grasped the concept much more quickly when they caught a glimpse of themselves through a portal. So we deliberately positioned this first portal to ensure that players will invariably see themselves.
Yeah, so that's interesting because it talks about something I don't really think about. Like when you design games, especially nowadays, you have to take into account that they might be played by people who have never never encountered any kind of concept that the game might have inside. Like they might have never read a science fiction book, they might have never played any other kind of game. Like for me, what they talked about, what a portal is, it's almost like obvious to me. I wouldn't need to have it explained because it appeared in so many other titles, not only games but also movies, books, and so on, that it's like self-explanatory to me. But then again, I must remember. Well, I do not have to, but they have to, as the developers, they have to remember that indeed I could have been, like, if my mother wanted to play this game, for example, she probably wouldn't know what a portal is. And it's interesting that they think about such minute details, because I think like in the past games were a lot less welcoming to new players. Like I could imagine in an older title they wouldn't even care about explaining such simple concept in such a detail, but it's very interesting for me to hear them talk about it. And also it's interesting to see your character move, because she has those strange contraptions on her legs, which I think are also elaborated upon in some of the other commentary notes later. Basically, the function they serve is to try to explain why you do not die when you fall from huge heights. But what's strange is it's very unnatural the way your character actually jumps. Like it doesn't really look right to me, but I guess it's difficult to animate it properly. But it's the sole idea of being able to see yourself, going through the portals is a really nice one. And in general, the idea for this game is pretty great, and I'm very glad that they developed it. I've actually never played Portal 2, but I am going to after finishing this one. So, and it will also be interesting to see the concepts from Fallout, from Portal 1 developed and expanded upon, because basically, to be honest, this game is more like a proof of concept, if anything else. Like more than half of it is just you learning new moves and acquaintancing yourself with the Portal system. Those level introduction plaques are also interesting because they list the potential hazards and puzzle elements. So, for example, on this level, I will have a cube, and there's a possibility I could kill myself by dropping it on my head, I think. Although I don't think it actually works like that in game. I guess I can test it.
We put the player character in an orange jumpsuit to reinforce the fact that she's a test subject. Visually, the warmer colors helped her pop out against the colder tones of her environment. Some playtesters were wondering why she could fall so far without getting hurt the way she would have if she were in Half-Life 2. In response, we added a mechanized heel spring to her lower legs. Afterwards, there was no longer any question about why she could survive such a long fall.
Yeah, so that's them talking about the spring heels on her legs.
These frosted glass observation rooms make the player feel as if they're being watched at all times, while keeping the identity of these watchers a mystery. The rooms serve a practical purpose as well, since we often use them as convenient and logical light sources for the test chambers.
Yeah, there's something inherently mysterious about frosted glass like that, because it is opaque enough so that you can make out the general idea what a room behind looks like, but it also distorts reality, sort of. So it's almost like a peek into some other place, you know. So can I get myself killed by... Well, I guess it can't be checked now because the other one will not drop on this level, but I don't think it would have actually killed me. Oh, maybe it would actually. It's interesting. Can I kill myself like that? I'm clearly taking damage. Or at least that was what the...
Portal is effectively an extended player training exercise. We spend a huge portion of the game introducing a series of gameplay tools, then layering those tools into increasingly difficult puzzles. This layering starts here, where we train the button and box mechanic, before introducing the more complicated concept of portals.
I actually clicked that by accident. I wonder if I can actually kill myself by dropping that box onto my head. Like, that's what the icon here would imply, but I don't think I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes trying to do that. It seems a little bit...
Please proceed into the chamber lock after completing each test. First, however, note the incandescent particle field across the exit. This aperture science material emancipation grid will vaporize any unauthorized equipment that passes through it. For instance, the aperture science weighted storage cube.
Right, so I can actually get another one. Oh, no, because I can't transport it, but it would disintegrate if I somehow managed to get it here. I love some of the techno bubble they use in Portal, like this is the material emancipation grid, so it basically emancipates any material from the burden of existence, which is both kind of hilarious and incredibly dark when you think about it.
Please place the weighted storage cube on the 1500 megawatt aperture science heavy-duty super colliding super button.
To be honest, I myself think that the first Portal might be even a little bit too slow in introducing...
Perfect. Please move quickly to the chamber lock, as the effects of prolonged exposure to the button are not part of this test.
Might be a little too slow in introducing new mechanics, because, to be honest, like, the whole part of the game where you do not even have the portal gun is a little bit too trivial. But again, I have to consider that I myself, even though I am not a pro at games, I did play a lot of them, so I'm definitely not a casual either. And a lot of concepts, the very basic concepts such as movement, jumping, orientation, are sort of instinctual to me, and they wouldn't be to a player who have picked up this game for the first time. Like, I'm constantly trying to imagine my mother, playing this game, whether she would grasp the concepts. I think like I think like simple things such as movement would have been actually difficult for her, which is interesting to imagine. Obviously, my mom does use a computer, but only like, you know, for writing and reading emails and stuff. I don't think she has ever played a game.
We wanted
Okay,
players
let's.
to feel safe while standing in a portal, so we never kill them or destroy objects within a portal that's closing. Instead, we either push or teleport objects out of a portal as it closes.
But I'm pretty sure it's actually possible to die as a consequence of being thrown out of the portal.
We very deliberately introduce and train each gameplay concept in Portal, so that once players reach this spot, we're confident that they know what a portal is and roughly how it works. Early versions of the game let players stumble through the beginning without always understanding what was going on, which really compromised teaching new concepts. The puzzle you just finished was designed so that stumbling around will almost always lead to a dead end. Completing the puzzle requires walking through a minimum of 5 portals in a specific order. This kind of gating, in which a solid understanding of key gameplay concept is required for success, helped standardize the learning curve of the game tremendously.
See, that's also interesting, because I could have imagined in an older game they would have designed it in a way that it would be possible to completely skip all of the you know, important bits and just stumble upon the solution by accident. But here they seem to take great care in assuring that you actually understand what's happening, which is,
You're doing
you know,
very well. Please be advised that a usable taste of blood is not part of any test protocol, but is an unintended side effect of the Aperture Science Material Emancipation Grip, which may, in semi-rare cases, emancipate dental fillings, crowns, tooth enamel, and teeth.
I love how she says that it only happens in semi-rare circumstances, so not really in rare circumstances, but she doesn't want to commit to saying it happens often either.
In early versions of the map, playtesters would charge down the stairs without noticing what was creating the portals. We introduced the action, what we call a gate, to help ensure that players stop and notice the portal gun making the blue portal. The particle effect and a loud noise help draw their attention.
You know what, I'm going to pause for a second and fiddle a little bit with the game audio, because I think that the actual game is a lot louder than the commentary note, which is sort of distracting. So I'm going to pause for a second, be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I've learned something interesting and sort of weird. Apparently the developer commentary actually plays on a music channel, so when you look into the game options, you have to lower the in-game sounds and increase the volume of the music.
In early versions of this map, playtesters would charge down the stairs.
Or maybe that's actually...
In early versions of...
Yeah, I do think it does increase.
In early versions of this map, playtesters would charge down the stairs without noticing what was created.
Okay, so
in early versions of this map, playtesters would charge down the stairs without noticing what was creating the portals. We introduced a mandatory pause in the action, what we call a gate, to help ensure that players stop and notice the portal gun making the blue portal.
So it does...
Particle effect and a loud noise help draw their attention.
It does seem that it does increase a little, but I have the music on highest volume and the game volume almost all the way down, and the commentary is still rather quiet. I actually can't imagine anyone playing this game and not paying attention to the portal gun, but then again, I don't. This is the final like design of the level, which they've explicitly said that they altered it, so obviously this is visible. I wonder how it looked in the original cut.
Very good. You are now in possession of the Aperture Science handheld portal device. With it, you can create your own portals. These intradimensional gates have proven to be completely safe. The device, however, has not. Do not touch the operational end of the device. Do not look directly at the operational end of the device. Do not submerge the device in liquid, even partially. Most importantly, under no circumstances should you...
I actually wonder how heavily was GLaDOS's voice altered in post-production, because from what I seem to remember, I think the actress that plays her actually has a lot of natural talent sounding like a robot, so she has scored a number of roles in which she plays like AIs or robots or, you know, computer voices. So I wonder how much of it is her natural voice and how much is some kind of a post-processing effect.
Please proceed to the chamber lock. Mind the gap.
Okay, I think I can increase the game volume a little. Wait, okay, I was confused for a second. Let's listen to the commentary.
This room was designed to make players understand that entrance and exit portals aren't tied to the color of the portal. Playtesters often assumed that orange portals were exit only, so we created this puzzle to force players to enter an orange portal.
That's also interesting, and something that wouldn't have crossed my mind. But again, first of all, I did play a lot of games before this one, and second, I have to remember that I'm actually playing the finished product, whether they are talking about playtesters. So obviously, what I'm playing is the most refined version. So it is pretty self-explanatory that I'm not having any problems, because I'm not having any problems specifically because they've taken all this time to refine the process so that it's the most widely understandable to the widest possible audience.
When rendering the player's view through a portal, we must render a separate image using a virtual camera which looks out of the opposite portal. To obtain a correct image and efficient rendering performance, we render only what is visible to the limited field of view of the opposite portal and exclude objects which lie between the virtual camera and the plane of the opposite portal.
Okay, I actually have no idea what he just said. Like, I vaguely understand it, but I'm not really sure what he was talking about when talking about camera views. I am really bad at imagining like dimensions and objects in 3D space. At maths at school, I was always really bad at drawing those. I don't know the proper English word, but you know, the 3D objects. To be honest, the very concept of this game sort of hurts my mind when I really think about it. But the first one, Portal 1, that is
Well
really...
done. Remember, the Aperture Science Bring Your Daughter to Work Day is the perfect time to have her tested.
That's kind of cold and weird. But yeah, as I said, Portal 1 is really rather newbie friendly. So I'm interested to learn in the future how much does Portal 2 differ in that account. Yeah, and it's good that I don't have any kind of motion sickness. because I actually know a couple of people. For example, my sister, she doesn't really play games, but whenever she looks at me playing FPS games, it only just simply moving my camera around is enough to get her dizzy. So I would imagine, I don't think she ever watched me play Portal in particular, but I would imagine this game would be nauseating to her.
The combination of portal destroying fields, which we call fizzlers, and the elevators serve a dual purpose. They provide a clearly identifiable endpoint for each test chamber, while also addressing the more practical problem of how to keep players from portaling across level loads. We eventually integrated the fizzlers into several of our puzzle designs.
Yeah, that's actually a great point, and also something they must have thought about, because obviously, if not for those devices, you could have possibly found a way to hop from the ending point of the game back to the beginning, and that would create a heap of problems, I can imagine.
Welcome to Test Chamber 4. You're doing quite well.
Integrating portals with Source Engine's physics system was a complex process that required several iterations to achieve the right balance of performance and correctness. Because portals can be placed virtually anywhere in the game's environment, the physics system had to be modified to allow dynamic changes to its representation of colliding geometry, such as the walls and floor around this box, and any objects which may lie on the opposite side of the portal. Initial implementations of this dynamic collision generation system could take up to 1/2 of 1 second, or 500 milliseconds, to compute the correct collision. This may not sound like a long time in everyday life, but this pause during the portal creation was quite noticeable in the context of a game. Ultimately, we designed a system that creates temporary hybrid physics environments in bubbles around the portals, using less accurate collision than that produced by Source's standard collision generation, but was accurate.
Oops. Well, it was the ending anyway. Again, I didn't quite understand what he was talking about, although I think a part of it was the fact that you actually change directions. Like, this seems to be down on the floor, but in truth, you're actually coming out sideways. So it's a little bit different in terms of physics and collision for the objects. Like this actually falls down on me because this is down here, even though it looks to be, you look to be going sideways, but you're actually going up. It's actually quite fascinating when you really think about it.
Once again, excellent work. As part of our required test protocol, we will not monitor the next test chamber. You will be entirely on your own. Good luck.
I seem to remember that you can actually destroy cameras by...
To ensure the safe performance of all authorized activities, do not destroy vital testing apparatus.
And I think there is an achievement for that as well.
Early versions of Portal featured more detailed, cluttered environments, much like Half-Life 2. We quickly realized that unnecessary objects scattered all over the place distracted players to the point where it actually interfered with the Portal training process. So we simplified the art style to favor clean, focused test chambers. The modular approach we settled on makes it look plausible that the chambers can reform dynamically on these pistons.
Yeah, that's actually hard to imagine a Portal, using the portal gun in such a cluttered environment as in the, for example, second Half-Life, because that guy is obviously right. all kind of objects would be falling all around the place. You could potentially kill yourself with like a table or something. Not to mention, it would take a lot of processing power from your PC to calculate all of the collisions between the various objects. And the art style of Portal is definitely unique and suitable in its own right, because obviously this is supposed to be a testing facility, and it definitely does convey this kind of idea.
As part of a required test protocol, our previous statement suggesting that we would not monitor this chamber was an outright fabrication. Good job. As part of a required test protocol, we will stop enhancing the truth in 3, 2...
Again, I'm in love with the general way GLaDOS speaks, because she seems to utilize a lot of technical babble and also a lot of strange euphemisms, like for example enhancing the truth as a synonym for lying is some of the most outrageous things I've ever heard about, but also quite hilarious. Okay, I think this is actually a decent place to end the first episode, so I'm going to end it here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.